now we're going to go over Part A for Medicare. And then we're also going to go over how the Medigap plans and supplements work together with original Medicare. So on Part A, we know Part A covers the hospital, mental health services, skilled nursing, hospice, home health care, blood, etc. For most people, as long as you or your spouse have worked 40 quarters or more, only that's you or your spouse, not you and. So you or your spouse, your Part A premium is $0 for most people. And then you can see it just goes up from there if you or your spouse have not worked 40 quarters or more. So for a hospital, for the first 60 days, if someone's an inpatient in the hospital for the first 60 days, Medicare is going to pay all except $1,316, which is a deductible. And this deductible is per visit. So if someone goes in the hospital in January and they come back out and they go back in again in June, they're going to pay this deductible. Now, this is assuming that they have original Medicare and they don't have they do not have a Medigap plan that covers this. Then if someone's in the hospital for longer than 60 days, so they're in longer than the first 60 days, now they're in the hospital for days 61 through 90, Medicare is going to pay all but $329 per day. So that means that you're responsible. You pay $329 per day, and for those 30 days, it would end up being $9,870 that you would owe. So let's say someone's in longer than 61 through 90 days. Now they're in up to 150 days, 91 through 150. Medicare pays all but $658 per day. So you're responsible for the $658. Medicare paid the rest. So for those 60 days, you would end up paying $39,480. So if you look at what you would pay here, plus what you would pay here, plus what you would pay here, you're right around $50,000 out of pocket. So anything over 151 days, Medicare doesn't cover anything over 151 days. You're responsible for 100%, assuming that you just have Medicare and nothing else. So you can see as we went over this first part, just dealing with hospital, why people would buy a Medigap supplement plan to go together with their Medicare. Because with Medicare, if you look at it as like a pie chart, Medicare is going to cover approximately 80% of Medicare covered services. But there's going to be this chunk right here, which is about 20%, that you're responsible for in copays and deductibles. And that 20% is unlimited. It's 20% of whatever the bill is with original Medicare, and there's no maximum out of pocket. So if the bill's $100,000, then you're going to be responsible for 20% of that, approximately, which is $20,000. So there's no maximum out of pocket. So that brings us over here to the Medigap plans. So when we look at the Medigap plans, there are 10 different plans, A, all the way through N. And these plans come in different variations. So for example, the F plan has a standard F, which means there's just no deductible. Then it has then there's also a high deductible F, which means after Medicare pays, there's a $2,200 deductible. Medicare pays first, and then you'll have co-pays and stuff to pay after Medicare pays. So you would be responsible for this $1,316 for your deductible, but that would go towards your $2,200. Then you also have some plans that are called select plans, and select plans means you have to go to selected hospitals. So if a plan says select F or select C, that means that supplement plan has a network. Okay, and we'll go over the pricing too. So in Southwest Florida for age 65 and you're non-smoker, Medigap Plan A is going to be approximately $140 a month. Medigap Plan B is going to be about $165 a month. C is going to be around $180 a month. D is going to be around $180 a month. F is going to be around $185. Now these are with A-rated companies. A-rated companies that have low, consistent rates. Okay, so other companies are going to be a lot higher than this, but the coverage is going to be the same for Medicare covered benefits. So G is going to be around $180, but with another company for men it might be $260 or $240 or $300. K is going to be right around $85 a month. And then L, M, and M are going to be a little bit more, increasing up to N, which is going to be around $145 a month with an A-rated company. So that's for age 65 non-smoker. So you'll get an idea that if you look at Medigap Plan A, and you're paying $140 a month, and you look at this row right here, which says Medicare Part A deductible, well, you'll see that this plan does not cover the $1,316 deductible, but all the other plans do. So all the other plans cover 100% of the $1,316 or a reduced amount, 50% or 75% of the $1,316. So this is what the supplements will do for you. So when you look at the co-insurance for Part A, then this is referring to the $329 per day that you would be responsible for, the $658 per day that you would be responsible for. And then you come over here and look at the Medigap plans. You can see what the Medigap plans are going to pay as far as your Part A co-insurance. So those are those co-pays for days 61 through 150 days. And you can see all the plans cover 100% of the Medicare Part A co-insurance for hospital, where it says 365 days. So after 150 days, you know that Medicare doesn't pay anything, and you're responsible for 100% after 150 days. So the Medigap supplement will also pick up an additional 365 days for Medicare covered services after Medicare stops paying them. And so we go up here and we look across and it says 100% on all those Medigap plans A through N for anything over 150 days. Now remember also, like I said, the plans, the coverages are the same. The only difference you're going to end up paying is the premium, and they all pay their claims well because Medicare processes the claims, not the supplement for the most part. Now, when we talk about blood work, so we know blood is around $400 to $500 a pint for the first 3 pints, which is $1,500. So that's your blood deductible. So when we look over here at the benefits for blood, we're going to see that the plans are going to cover anywhere from 50% to 100% of that blood deductible. The plans are also going to cover any co-pays that you might have, because if there's a blood transfusion that is given in a doctor's office because there's an emergency and they don't have time to get them to the hospital, Medicare is going to cover 80% of the blood transfusion. You're responsible for your Part B deductible for the blood transfusion, which is $183. And then you're also responsible for 20% after Medicare pays. The supplements will cover the 20%, your 20% copay, and you can see that right over here. Some 50% and up to 100%. Okay, so there's two ways that blood can be billed, which is a little bit different. So this top part's under Part A for hospital, and then this part down here can be billed under Part B for doctors. So now we have hospice care. So Medicare covers generally 100% of hospice. You do have a $5 copay for outpatient drugs and a 5% coinsurance amount for respite care. Respite care is like a daycare situation. If a loved one is watching after a family member because they're terminally ill in the home, that person has to get out of the house to get groceries and leave every once in a while. So Medicare is going to cover 95% for that daycare situation. You're responsible for 5%. But when we look at the coinsurance and copay for hospice, you can see what the supplements are going to cover. So far, the only thing that doesn't cover anything is Medigap Plan A with your Part A deductible for hospitals. So now we're going to come to skilled nursing care. So let's say, for instance, someone needed a full knee replacement. In order to qualify for a full knee replacement and to get skilled nursing care afterward, the hospital is going to keep you in for 3 days. So you're going to be in the hospital as an inpatient for 3 days. That qualifies you for skilled nursing care. So 3 hospital days as an inpatient. Then for the first 20 days of skilled nursing care, Medicare is going to pay 100% for the first 20 days. Then after that, if you need to stay in a skilled nursing facility for longer than 20 days, Medicare is going to pay all but $164.50 per day. So if you have just original Medicare, you're responsible for that $164.50. That's per day, which ends up being $13,160 if you're in for a full 80 days. It does happen because as people get older, their wounds don't heal as easily, or they might have type 1 diabetes and other issues like that, or maybe they just don't have someone to watch them at home. Anything that's over 100 days, 101 days plus, Medicare covers nothing. You're responsible for 100%. And the reason being, this is really considered to be long-term care. So Medicare does not cover long-term care. And then we come over here and we're going to be looking at the benefits for skilled nursing care. For skilled nursing, the coinsurance, we can look under Medigap Plan A. And Medigap Plan B also doesn't cover that copay for $164.50. But you're paying approximately $140 a month for this one and $165 a month for this one, but it won't even cover those two benefits. And these two are covering the $164.50 at a reduced amount. So far, you'll see the plan that's covering 100% of all of Medicare's benefits is F.